Hey everybody, in today's video I'm going to go over an Excel feature that you may not even know exists. So there's an option to take a snapshot of a certain area of your spreadsheet and put it in another area of your spreadsheet to make it easy to view what it looks like without having to jump back to different parts of your workbook. So to enable this feature, it's called a camera. It's called Excel's camera. And you actually have to go in to add it as an extra item to your quick access toolbar. So if I click on this drop down here, there's an option to select more commands. If I do that, I can select commands not in the ribbon. And so if I type in CAM, I get camera. So I'll click the add button to add it to my quick access toolbar and hit OK. And now you'll see I've got that camera icon here. And so how does this work? So I've got my spreadsheet here, I've got my database, and I've got my pivot table here, along with a chart. So let's say as I make changes, I want to see what this chart is going to look like. I don't want to necessarily swap back and forth. Let's pretend you have a much bigger spreadsheet where, you might find yourself doing this. So I can select the chart and use the camera. It's grayed out. But what I can do is select the cells around it, and now click on the camera button. So it's effectively taking a picture of that. So it looks like it's copying it, but it's not. Now I'm going to go over to my other tab here, and I'm just going to basically draw how big I want it. So I'm dragging this, and there we go. Now I've got my snapshot of this. So I've got my entire chart, store A through to store J, just as if I were looking at it here. So now let's really test it out. So I'm going to mess up one of these values. So store A, I'm going to look for a value for store A. So we've got a quantity of 1 here. Let's change this to something crazy like 17,000. Really mess with the data. Now, right now, this picture hasn't updated because it's a pivot table. It needs to refresh. So what I could do, go to the data tab, hit the refresh all button, and as you can see, it's updated our chart. All right, so we do see the effect of making that change, and that is the same thing that shows up on here. So it's a really cool feature, a way that, if you've got a big spreadsheet and you want to be able to see changes, even potentially as a dashboard, right? You could shrink this down, right? Even though I've sort of set aside how big I want it, I could shrink this down. And so you could have one chart here, another chart here, create some easy visuals that you can quickly access, especially if you've got a main dashboard where you don't necessarily want to worry about, fitting all these charts in. You could have one that has a basically zoomed out effect is what this is. And then, if you want to look in more detail, you can jump over to that one where maybe you've got a larger setup and a larger view. And so I think it can be really useful in terms of using it for dashboard purposes. Now, if you just wanted to work between different sheets and not having to jump back and forth, what you could do is on the View tab, there's an option to create a new window. So you could conceivably work in 2 places on your workbook at the same time. So for instance, I've got this workbook open, the same workbook, but see, I have it open multiple places. So I could have a split screen effect, right? If I can get this. There we go. So if you did a new view and a new window, you could still look at your spreadsheet in 2 places at the same time. But the benefit of using this camera is that it saves it in there. You don't have to flip back and forth. It's just sitting there. You can always move it around to a different place, whatever the case may be. You've got that snapshot locked in there. So it can be really helpful in that regard, just to have it in there. It's a really neat feature that I didn't, up until recently know that even existed in Excel, just because it's not really really well known. It's hiding in that other command section. But if you're creating a dashboard, imagine creating, half a dozen of these, and it's easy to fit on a sheet. And then, if you want to look at more detail, jump into the sheet that has more detail, right? So it can give you the best of both worlds, an easy snapshot overview, and allowing someone to decide that, okay, they want to look at a bit more detail, look at those charts in a bit closer up. And obviously you could zoom as well, but obviously this is effectively just like a picture, just like a camera. So you can't really drill into this, but you do have the flexibility to use this, give your reader the ability to see the chart in a more compact view without having to fumble around with trying to make it all fit on one single dashboard, because a lot of times that can be a big headache, trying to make sure that everything fits into one place, get all your headers and your columns all set up properly. But with this camera capability, you're effectively taking a snapshot and storing it in one place, and at the same time you're not messing with your existing layout that you may have somewhere else. So that's the camera function in Excel. Really cool feature. So if you want to add it, just remember you got to go to the quick access toolbar, customize it, go to more commands, and then select the commands that are not in the ribbon, and just start typing in CAM. You'll get the camera, add it onto here, and then you're good to go. So hope you found that useful. Thanks for watching.